Oh, look at that. I mean, I know it's not running. The pump, you know, when you're in neutral, the pump is actually engaged, so that's when you need to check it. But you can see there, the fact that it actually has fluid in it, that it's not burnt, is promising. And the fact that this car had 90,000 miles on the odometer, which I do believe is correct, I don't believe it's rolled over, that's a good sign. So what we'll do, since it's showing full, and there's no burnt clutches material nonsense in there, we'll do the old-fashioned rig up a jug can to the front bumper, shut the hood, and drive on out of here if we can. That's a good thing. Alright, I need to borrow a gas jug, and if you guys remember, good old trail duster here was holding this one. This is one I got it running with. So we'll steal this, tie it to the front bumper, call it a win. Don't worry about the trail duster. She'll be coming back in a later video. Got a lot of plans for it that I'll show you down in that direction right now. Can't show you anymore. Alright, walk through the jungle here. Go back to the old faithful Dodge Aspen here. Don't look at that car. It's coming later too. Activate. So I started thinking about it when I pulled this jug out. This very well might be the same one that we used on the satellite that Junkyard Digs and Thunderhead 289 actually helped me get running. So this surely has good luck, right? We actually zip tied that one to the front bumper. This one I rigged up a bungee cord. I can make it do a good old-fashioned loop here. Or if I were smart enough. Hey, there we go. Look at that. Alright, try again. Maybe we should go through the handle. Let's do a loopy-loop and pull. Your gas show's looking cool. Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay. And installed. We'll give it the old slow pour it in here. It's all in the technique. Probably by far the safest method to rig up some kind of gas tank, I'd say. Strap it to the front bumper, drive it down the road. Not a big issue, right? Done it plenty of times. Hasn't failed me yet, so I guess we'll just keep going till it doesn't. Man, that smoke. That's probably good enough. So last video I mentioned the fact that this car does not have any antifreeze or water in it at all. So if we do get the thing running, which I'm sure it'll run because we just had it running yesterday, right? We'll actually just put the thing in gear and see if it'll go. You know, we don't want to waste our time. So once this thing actually runs, I'm going to back it up and start going. Actually what I'll do, I'll put it in neutral so the pump will cycle, and then we'll go from there. That way it's not sitting there burning up any clutches or anything like that. Okay, let's put the battery in, go from there. Cross your fingers, this thing actually backs out of this place. Hook the battery to the fuel pump. Give her some power. She's clicking. Oh, it quit. Gotta disconnect the fuel pump. Oh, I broke the grill. Well, that was all right. She chewed pretty good out the exhaust, but I mean, it was better than what I thought it would be. As soon as I dropped it down in reverse, it just went straight into gear. I let it sit in neutral so that way it would cycle the pump. But as soon as I dropped it into gear, it went. So that's good. I mean, no slippage on it, at least in reverse. So if anything, we can drive it down the road in reverse. Okay, now what I want to do is try and get out, take it out in the field, and we'll go see if we can do a couple laps. Then we'll take it up to the house, because like I said, I don't want to drive it too long. But, wow, that was way better than I thought it would go. This car might be okay after all, guys. It doesn't look like much, and that's because it isn't much. We're gonna have some fun. This is not a beautiful car, that I do not know what is. We just backed at least 100 feet out of that swampy area over there with Twitter. So I think we need to do the ultimate test. See if we can go forwards. You got it in you? Probably not. Just in case you were wondering what that rattling sound was, that was actually the fan rubbing against the fuel line right there. So that's very, very safe. Don't be like me. Actually check your clearance. We're all good now. Hopefully the rattling will stop. Now, we're gonna see if we can drive it up a little bit around the field here. Got this nice little racetrack. We're not gonna go fast, just enough to get it up to the house, to the shop. So this is our current situation. Not the most ideal, but it works. Does not like the slightest bit of throttle. I tried. Yeah, it just dies. That's fours, right? I'm honestly impressed by the fact that this thing drove up to the shop at least. Not that bad. And you really see a better look at how nasty this thing is. Looks like this side was probably sitting up under a tree. The other side isn't nearly as dirty. Really want to pressure wash this thing, but I want to get your guys' input first. So, but you guys have been looking at this side the whole time. So look at that. Let's take a step all the way around the car one more time. Really see it in the daylight. So you can see where the roof pretty much doesn't have any paint anymore. But the rest of the car, not so bad. There's a dent. I think that's the one I was telling you guys about. Pretty clean. This side over here is green completely. It's not even paint anymore. How this smells. Oh, dang. Yeah, that's not going to be pumping any clean fuel anytime soon. Let's take a look under the car. Gas tank is rotted out, but, or is it? Yeah, it is. Looks like fuel leaking right there. Looks like a 7 1/4 rear end. So she's more than likely going to be an open rear. I bet money on it. It's all there though, no rust in the frame rails. So count that as a win. Rockers are still solid too. That's impressive. Looks like we're leaking just a touch of transmission fluid, so we don't need to drive it too much. Frame rails look nice. Nothing bad. It's a lot more solid than I thought it would be. Huh. So when we drove this thing, it sounded like it was basically running on, I don't know, half the cylinders. So what I've decided to do, actually spend some money on this thing. I know, right? I've got some plug wires, spark plugs. Because of that, and that. No, this is good. You know, I've already done 4 of these on the other side, and not a single one gave me an issue. It's always whenever I start turning on the camera, we have problems. But anyway, like I said, went down, spent $40 on plug wires and spark plugs. We'll see if that helps anything, and if it doesn't, I've got another carburetor that I think is a lot better than this one. It's not a lean burn carburetor, but it should work. I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't. There's only like 1 or 2 wires that actually go to the carburetor. They're both unplugged and it still runs, so we can see if that works. Yeah. So that's a good spark plug right there. Let me get a little closer to you guys. See, that's a really nasty spark plug. That's why we're changing them. So as I mentioned, I've got 4 on the passenger side done. That's the hard side, because all that whatever nonsense is over there. So what I like to do whenever I get spark plug wire sets, these are like $20, the Omni Spark or whatever they're called. Well, I don't know what brand they are, somewhere over there. Anyway, line them all up by the boot, get them all the same length, let them hang, and then throw in your old spark plug wire. You can see right here, got it tangled in there like spaghetti, and you'll just find the one that it's supposed to be the same length to. So this one's pretty close. I think that's the one, and typically you can kind of tell because the way that the distributor's set. Now most of the time you're going to have like a GM or a Ford. They're going to be either in the very front or the very back, so you can kind of tell which spark plug wire goes where. But for like a Chrysler big block with the distributor tilted to one side, it's a little bit harder to find which plug wire you need because one side's closer than the other. So this is the way I like to do it. Even with a small block Chrysler, it just makes it easier because you can go in here, find the one you need, pull it out, and throw away your old plugs. So now that we have all 8 cylinders with new spark plugs and plug wires, I'm curious to see if we get a better idle quality. So, without further ado, fuel pump. not too bad. I think at this point it's more about the carburetor than it is anything. Yeah. I'm here trying to stall out right now. There it is. Still does not run and idle the way that it should. It runs better. It definitely runs better, but the carburetor just really needs a rebuild. And if I'm going to rebuild a carburetor, I think I'd rather do it to romp. So we're going to pull this one back out here, set it back in the field, and then we'll visit it another day. Ran okay. I mean, it sat there and idle. It came up to temperature, and I filled it up with water. And I know we don't need to do that over the winter time, but it's dead June right now. So whenever that time comes back around, I'll drain it back out, and we'll at least just empty it so it doesn't crack anything in the block. Actually, it's pretty snappy. It just can't idle. As soon as you let off the gas, it dies. So what's the verdict on the Aspen? So a lot of you guys wanted me to make a sleeper out of it, make it a daily driver, fix it, restore it, and honestly, I don't know. I don't really see the means to restore this thing. It's not really a vehicle worth restoring, and I don't think I'll go that route. I really couldn't. Now, would I consider cleaning it up and pressure washing it? Yeah, for sure. So what I want to do, I want to hold a vote, and I'll leave it on my channel. You guys will be able to see it. I want to hold a vote to see whether or not you guys want to see it pressure wash. Should we leave it alone? Should we just do as it is and drive the thing looking like the way it does, just clean off the windows? Or would you guys rather see this thing actually be cleaned up? Now, like I said, if I'm going to put a big block in something, I'd rather it be something a little bit more valuable over this. It's just not something that I see benefiting me to have a big block. It would need a lot of extra work and a lot of different support than a lot of the vehicles that I have around here that could use a big block. So not something that I would really want to spend a ton of work to make something crazy. Sleepers would be awesome, but I would much rather make a sleeper out of this Cordoba right here. You guys remember, this is the budget sleeper for $600 I paid back in last February. So something I'd rather work on. It's already got a big block. We could do some modifications to it. So if you guys want to see a sleeper, we might revisit the Cordoba. This one, not so much. Now this one would, like I said, if I were going to do some modifications, it would be a lot cooler sitting on the ground, lowered it, and just something that's really cool. But I just don't see me doing a ton of modifications. I'd like for this to be a budget-friendly build if I were to actually do something with this. But that being said, probably if there's a part 3 on this thing in the near future, it'll be cleaning it up and whatnot, actually clean the outside and the inside. Part 2 will be the last one for a little while. I just wanted to introduce the car like I've done. I wanted to let you guys see it, be thinking about it, come up with some ideas. We've got so many projects that I want to work on. We've got all of them lined up here, you can see, and they go all the way down there to the end. And there's even some back in there where the Aspen came from that are a lot cooler than the Aspen. Don't get me wrong, this thing's awesome, but there's just a lot more potential elsewhere. So I wanted to introduce it to you guys, let you be thinking about it, see if you like it, and who knows what the future holds for this thing. I mean, if it ends up just sitting for another 17 years, then That's just how it's going to be. But we could clean it up, maybe fix some things on it, because it's going to need everything. It needs the brakes completely rebuilt. It's going to need belts, hoses, fuel line, gas tank, sending unit, fuel pump, carburetor rebuild. It's going to need a lot of work to make this thing even drivable. I'll have more in parts than what I paid for it just to make this thing drivable, and it still won't be worth more than what I paid for it. It's the problem. So just trying to think economically, trying to think a little bit more logistically on this car. It's something I really appreciate. I think it's cool, and I know a lot of you guys think it's cool, and a lot of you guys don't like it, and that's all right. I understand everybody has their preferences. So anyways, that's going to be it for this car for now, and I've got some more attention to focus elsewhere, and you'll see that in next week's video. So you're probably wondering, if we don't work on the Aspen, then what's next? Stay tuned next week to find out. Thank you guys so much for watching. That'll do it for today's video. If you liked the video, please leave a like down below. If you have any questions for me, feel free to leave a comment. You can also ask me a question in my email. It's at the very end of the video. Send in your projects to that very same email. You can also order your t-shirts and your stickers, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.